The catapults lurched forward again, hurling small wooden casks out over the walls. Rankin shaded his eyes as he watched the missiles fly and fresh crimson and blue flames shoot up from the Bjornman lines. He turned his head at the sound of footsteps to see the soldier he'd dispatched returning with the innkeeper in tow.
"That was you? On the wall?"
Rankin asked, in surprise. Owen nodded, his face pale and his hands shaking visibly.
"My best brandy," he explained. "The bastards might be burning my village down, but I'll be damned if they're going to drink my stock."
Rankin grinned and slapped the man on the back.
"I thought I caught a whiff of something."
He glanced at the rear gates.
"You'd better get your family out of here, Owen. It's going to get ugly soon, and you want to get a lead on these bastards."
Owen nodded and looked past Rankin towards the dark stain of the Bjornman army that extended out to the trees on the horizon.
"We'll be gone in half an hour. I've a brother in Caftrin that I think it might be time to visit. Not a bad idea. And we'll be pulling back ourselves once we've bled them as much as we can here. The meeting point was supposed to be Carrick's fort, but I won't blame you for going your own way."
He held a gloved hand out.
"Good luck." "Luck to you, Captain," Owen said, grasping his hand. "You've done everything that could be done here. There's some will blame you anyway, but I want to thank you for it."
Rankin nodded once and turned back to the battle. The gates shook again as a hail of rocks crashed into them, then they slammed inwards against the mound of earth piled behind them as the heavy crossbar tore apart. With a tortured creak, a section of the palisade to the right of the gates, weakened by fire and the barrage of rocks, first sagged and then fell away, crashing down into the compound. There was a moment of shocked silence, and then cheers rose from beyond the walls as the Bjornmen began to pour through the breach. Rankin watched in silence. There was no need to bark orders now. For the moment, they were already given. It was time to let his men do their jobs. The archers fired in ranks, loosing arrows and then sprinting through the rows of men behind them to their next position. The constant hail of arrows took its toll, and the Bjornman charge faltered as bodies littered the earth until an effective shield wall could be formed. The outer village beyond the inner palisade had become a killing field. The extra buildings required due to the influx of refugees and the demands of Rankin's own forces had almost filled the area which once had contained cottages and small fields. The defenders launched furious counterattacks from the new streets and squares as the Bjornmen pushed their way forward, striking from ambushes when they could, but then melting away before the Bjornmen could truly engage. Rankin watched the line of carts as the villagers fled through the rear gates. The village had been neatly bisected by a line of collapsed houses and buildings, with the inner palisade at the center. Though it might have been possible to clear the debris, it would have taken time, and the Bjornmen were pushing directly towards the inner gates. It was obvious they were seeking to neutralize Rankin's forces as quickly as possible. The assault on the inner gates, when it came, was overwhelming. As Rankin's troops retreated behind the walls, the Bjornmen pulled back, holding their positions at the outer wall as the trebuchets were slowly wheeled forward. He could do little more than watch. The range of the siege engines was such that they could fire from way outside of the breached outer walls. First firepots, then rocks, and then massive sections of tree trunk were hurled at the inner palisade and the gates.
"Sergeant!"
he shouted at a man further along the walkway.
"Sir!"
The man snapped off a salute. Rankin fought back a burst of irrational laughter. A parade ground salute in the middle of a hail of rocks and burning pitch. It all seemed so ridiculous, somehow.
"Find me a corporal, man,"
Rankin barked. The man rushed down the steps into the village as Rankin glowered out over the walls.
"Orders, sir?"
The officer was a fresh-faced man with an immaculate uniform.
"Bloody Druze, man, what are you, 12?
Rankin swore.
"Never mind that."
He raised a hand as the man sputtered and started to protest.
"We're going to lose this wall soon. I want archers on every roof that will hold them, with ropes in position to let them down."
The man nodded smartly and began to turn away.
"I'm not finished yet,"
Rankin snapped.